Hello, this is Joe from Northern Korea. We are starting a new series on budget typal creatures or budget kindred creatures, whatever you want to call it is fine. I am not getting into that fight. But anyway, we're looking at changelings first. These are very useful in general. And we're actually going to do two parts on the creatures and then a third part on kind of other spells and effects that are useful for them. And my computer's not being agreeable again. Fun. So what do I mean by budget? First of all, for the purposes of these videos, is $2 and under, okay? Budget means a lot of different things to different people. Some people say $10 is budget. If it's under $10 budget, oh wow, you're not a teacher. That's what I think when I hear people say things like that. Some cards may be worth it, but in general, if you just want to put a deck together, woo. Anyway, these are some amazing cards here, and way under $2. I think some of these are going to end up being way above the $2 mark. I'm surprised they aren't already, frankly. So what is a changeling? Changelings are all creature types. Okay, so this can be very useful for setting off any kind of ETBs. For instance, with allies, anytime another ally comes in, it sets off all of their abilities, right? So if you have 5 allies, they probably have 5 abilities that get activated when another ally comes in. So they're kind of like less broken slivers, basically. Anyway, I have an ally tribal deck. I really love it. Mardu ally tribal, great. Anyway, we are looking at the changelings with the most broad usefulness. Okay, again, I'm going to do a second video on changelings that are maybe a bit more niche, and then we're going to look at kind of like spells and artifacts and other effects for changelings that are very good. So first of all, Karen Wanderer. I actually thought this said Calm Wanderer, and I was searching for Calm Wanderer for like 10 minutes, and then I was like, why can't I find this calm guy? But anyway, Karen, I-R-N, not L-M. Karen Wanderer cares about abilities of creatures in your graveyard. Okay, so combat abilities. So they have the list here. Fear, so evasion, first strike, double strike, death touch, haste, land walk, any land walk. Oh, whew, that's a lot of evasion. Lifelink, protection, reach, trample, shroud, and vigilance. Okay, so really the amount of different abilities this can pick up, like, oh my gosh, crazy. And then it copies things. If, for instance, if you have 3 creatures in your graveyard, and let's say they have double strike, vigilance, and death touch, why not? Yeah. It has all of those abilities just like that, right? Especially if you're building like an evasion deck, I think this is very useful because it's pretty easy to find creatures that have like protection from a color, land walk, fear, and then it just like you get kind of a second chance at all of those abilities. So even when they're in the graveyard, you still have access to them. Really amazing. 26 cents. Why? I don't know. Frankly, this is undervalued, but it's a 4/4 for 5, so maybe people look at that and think it's not great. Also, a lot of text. Cards that have a lot of text, I think people are like, yeah, maybe not. Which is fair. I mean, if you've got like 60 to 100 cards in a deck, do you want to deal with a huge paragraph on just one card? Not really. Number 2, Bloodline Pretender. Okay, it's ETB. When it comes in, you choose a creature type, and then every time one of those comes in, under your control, so unfortunately is under your control, not just enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 on him. So he just keeps getting bigger. If you have a deck that's like, say, an elf deck, where you're just casting a whole bunch of elves, and once again, this just says creature, it doesn't say non-token creature. Okay, so elves in particular are very good at creating a lot of tokens usually. So if you create, say, 10 elf tokens while this is on the battlefield, if you chose elf, he gets 10 plus 10 plus 10s. Or plus 1 plus 1s. Not 10 plus 10 plus 10s. But anyway. Very, very good in a lot of decks. I think this fits into so many decks. But anyway. 51 cents. 51 cents only. Why is it only 51 cents? That's what I wonder. But I guess because it starts out not great. 3 mana for a 2/2, 3 colorless. So this can go in literally any deck. Okay, anyway. Enough rambling. Moriette of the Frost. I keep wanting to spell Moriette with 2 E's, but yeah. Okay, you may copy another permanent you control. This, I think, sounds not that impressive, but it's amazing. Okay? If you copy a creature, it also gets an extra 2 plus 1 plus 1s on it. So let's say you have a really big creature. Let's say you have an 8/8 with trample. This comes in as a 10/10 with trample. Crazy, crazy. It is 5 mana and it's Simic, so it's a more specific. And again, we have that huge amount of text, right? It's kind of like a wall of text on these cards, and I think that's why the value is so low. Again, 12 cents for this. Totally worth 12 cents. I don't have this in a deck right now. I don't know why. Again, it's almost just absent-mindedness, but anyway. Masked Vandal. I think this is probably the one out of the list that people would be most likely to be familiar with, but anyway. ETB, exile a creature card from your graveyard to exile target enchantment or artifact. Okay, so almost every game you're going to end up with one of your opponents, especially if you're playing Commander, has that one thing that's really a problem. This is your solution right here. You do need to have a creature in your graveyard. So again, it has to be a card, not a token, in your graveyard. So that's a little bit of a sticking point, but it's not very hard to do either. Basically, you can't do this on like turn 1 or turn 2. You can still cast him as a creature, but you can't get the added ability. Still not bad. Even if you use it on like a mana rock, I think it can be worthwhile. 53 cents only. 53 cents for this bad boy here. Taurian Mauler. Okay, I love this card so much. It is so mean. Okay, besides being a big ball, which is pretty awesome, big metal ball, whenever an opponent casts a spell, so again, punishing your opponents for playing the game. Love that. Anything that has that kind of mechanic, where you're getting a bonus just for like other people doing what they want to do, and you get something from it. Usually your opponent's casting spells is not good for you. This makes it into like at least somewhat of an advantage. You may put a +1/+1 counter on Taurian Mauler every time they cast something, right? Which, especially in multiplayer formats, that's going to add up really fast, you know? That's going to get out of hand pretty quickly. Even if this stays on the board for like 2 turns, you're going to have a big creature, right? Anyway, 138 for that one. I bought a few of these like a few years ago when it was well under $1. I gotta dig them up because I feel like it's getting to that point where a lot of card values go not impressive, and then as soon as it gets like above that $2 mark, they kind of shoot up to like $5 to $8 from there. Like it's a pretty steep curve. Looking at the list now. First, Karen Wanderer, 26 cents. Bloodline Pretender, 51 cents. Moriette of the Frost, only 12 cents. Okay, this is not a 12-cent card. It just has a lot of writing on it. Masked Vandal, 53 cents. That is something, if you have green, definitely get it. Torian Mauler, $1.38. By far the most expensive on the list, still pretty cheap. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take it easy.